Hello and welcome to Cultural Wealth Wednesdays. I'm thrilled you joined us today for what I believe will be a transformative conversation about recognizing, honoring, and leveraging the incredible assets that exist within our diverse communities. I'm Dr. Crystal L. Clemons, founder and CEO of Our Village Consulting, and I've dedicated over 15 years of my career to a simple but powerful belief. Every student, every family, and every community possesses incredible wealth that, when recognized and cultivated, can transform educational outcomes. As someone who has spent my career in school counseling and counselor education, I've witnessed firsthand how traditional deficit-based thinking can limit our vision of what's possible. But I've also seen the magic that happens when we shift our perspective to recognize the cultural wealth that surrounds us every day. Cultural Wealth Wednesdays is our weekly space to explore, celebrate, and learn how to leverage the diverse forms of capital that exist in our communities, what researcher Terry Yasso calls community cultural wealth. We're talking about the aspirational capital that drives families to dream big for their children, the linguistic capital found in multilingual households, the familial capital that creates strong support networks, the social capital built through community connections, the navigational capital that helps families persist through challenges, and the resistant capital that emerges from communities advocating for change. Each Wednesday, we'll dive deep into practical strategies for identifying cultural wealth in your school or community, building authentic partnerships that honor diverse perspectives, creating programming that builds on existing community assets, challenging systems that perpetuate deficit thinking, and developing your own cultural competence as an educator or leader. Cultural Wealth Wednesdays isn't just about changing how we think. It's about changing how we act. It's about building the kind of inclusive, asset-based educational communities where every child can thrive. So let's begin this journey together. Let's challenge ourselves to see wealth where others might see deficits. Let's build bridges where others might see barriers. Let's create the villages our children deserve. Welcome back to Cultural Wealth Wednesday. I took a little bit of a break last week, but I'm back with the jump off. So here we go. Y'all, we made it to February 2026. January was long. It was a long month, but we are now in the middle of February 2026, and we know February is Black History Month. And this is a conversation I've been looking forward to for quite a while now. If you've been with me on this series, you already know how I do, right? You know how we move. I don't do surface level around here. I'm honest. We go deep. We connect reality to practicality, right? So this month, I want to do something more intentional. I want to take the framework we've been talking about, which is, of course, cultural wealth, and I want to apply it directly to Black History Month. There's a conversation that we are not having in schools, and it's about time that we have it. All right, y'all, let me be real with you. For a lot of schools, school districts, school systems, what have you, Black History Month looks like bulletin board, maybe a door decoration contest, a few famous names. You got Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. over here, maybe Rosa Parks over there. If we're lucky, we get Thurgood Marshall, maybe Shirley Chisholm, Michael Jordan, right? Might get a video or two and maybe a lesson before March 1st hits, and then we're on the road to standardized testing, right? So we have the test prep. That's not a celebration of Black history. That's a performance of Black history. And not only is it a performance, but here's the thing, your Black students and Black families know. They know the difference between a performance and a celebration. They feel the difference and they know the difference. Because again, this is what that approach communicates. That approach, whether or not you intended to communicate this message, this is the message that comes across. That Black history is something to be contained within 1 month, one time frame, very minimally, and then we move on. Especially considering what we have gone through as a country, what we are continuing to go through over the last 13 months with bans, with stripping of history, with mandates on what to discuss or what not to discuss, the straight up erasure of Black people in history. I know that even what I just mentioned as what typically happens during Black History Month may not even be happening in some places. But you and I know that Black history is not just a unit. It's a living, breathing, ongoing story. And it's present in our schools right now, whether or not we choose to acknowledge it. Black History Month should be a catalyst, a deepening. It should be a moment that expands our lens, not shrink it. It should invite us to ask, what cultural wealth is already in this building, in these families, in these children who are sitting in front of us every day? Not just them, but what cultural wealth is in our faculty? What cultural wealth is already in our staff? What cultural wealth is in our community? That's where the work gets real. We've talked about aspirational wealth, the dreams that families carry for their children, even when the system not only says the dreams aren't realistic, but they work overtime to make sure the dreams don't even happen. See, Black History Month should remind us that dreaming beyond those barriers is not naive. It's a tradition, because that's what we do. We talk about familial capital, right? The kinship networks, the grandmothers raising children, the older siblings stepping in and stepping up, right? Black History Month should help us see that these structures are not gaps in the family. They are the genius of the family. Resistant capital, the ability to challenge inequities and inequalities, to advocate, to speak up. Black History Month should be full of examples of resistance in action. And our students are carrying that same capacity right now. Black History Month in itself is resistance. The happy birthday song we sang, we call it the Black version of the happy birthday song. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Happy birthday to ya. Well, yes, it's a wonderful happy birthday song. My birthday was February 1st of this year, so I definitely got it. But that song was written as resistance by the legendary, the icon, second to none, Stevie Morris, known to us as Stevie Wonder. He wrote it to push for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to get his holiday around his birthday. That's what that song really is about. Listen to the actual lyrics beyond the chorus that we sing all the time. Listen to the verses. The song itself is resistance. But here's the question. Are we creating classrooms where the capacity is honored or suppressed? So in this moment, I just want to park here and spend some time, because this is where the cultural wealth framework meets the classroom in a very real and concrete way. So when we don't bring a cultural wealth lens to Black History Month in the schools, we end up doing one of a few things. One of the main things we end up doing is over-celebrating the struggle without affirming the Black joy. The students live and learn about hardship, trauma, resistance, but they don't see themselves reflected in creativity, innovation, humor, brilliance, rest. That's an incomplete story. While we should continue to highlight our amazing ancestors, Sojourner Truth, the Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner, Phyllis Wheatley, the Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers. And we need to continue to talk about these people, Crispus Attucks. We need to continue to talk about these folks, Marcus Garvey. I could go on and on. But with those stories, we should have some stories of Ryan Coogler. We should have the stories of Ava DuVernay, of Surya Bonali, of Dominique Dawes, of, Simone Biles. But do we know who Betty Okino is? We need to have the stories of Jair Lynch. We need to know the stories of Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley and Dr. J and all of these amazing people. Stevie Wonder, Berry Gordy and Motown, the Temptations, all of these people that bring so much joy. Red Fox, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, Moms Mabley, Monique, Miss Pat, right? All of these people, Tyler Perry, who have used their creativity to bring us so much joy. Those conversations need to be in tandem. We need to tell folks about those people too. because our students may not see themselves in a Malcolm X, but they might see themselves in a Martin Lawrence. We're centering certain famous individuals without centering the community. We only talk about one person who changed history, but we erase the village that made them possible, right? Rosa Parks didn't just refuse to give up her seat because of personal courage. She was embedded in a community of organized, strategic, committed people. The village is always a story. And while we talk about Rosa Parks, we need to also discuss Claudette Colvin, who actually did it before Rosa Parks. She refused to give up her seat before Rosa Parks. We need to talk about her too. See, we teach Black history as if it's someone else's story, as if it doesn't belong to and live within the children you serve every day, as if it doesn't belong to and live within your colleagues that you see every day. That disconnect is a missed opportunity, and for Black students and their families and their communities, it's erasure. So how do we change this? How do we shift this? This looks like asking students, what did your family teach you about perseverance? What stories did your grandparents tell you? What does strength look like in your community? It looks like building curriculum that doesn't just reference Black history, but is in conversation with Black history, connecting past to present and to future. It looks like treating Black history as a mirror, not a window. It's a space where Black students see themselves, not only in who we were, but in who we are and who we are becoming. All right, so I want you to think about your school right now. Think about the families you serve, the students in your classrooms. Recognize that the cultural wealth is already there. It's in the student who code switches effortlessly, moving between languages and registers and contexts with skill that no standardized test will ever measure. It's in the family that shows up to every school event, even when the environment doesn't always feel welcoming to them. That's not just involvement, that's commitment. The child who takes care of younger siblings, translates for parents, holds so much responsibility at home, and still shows up to school. Navigational wealth in action. The grandmama who calls to school and says, I know my baby, I know my grandbaby. Let me tell you what they need. Expertise. It needs to be treated as such. That grandmama's the expert. She should be treated as such. Black History Month, it's an invitation to see all of that in a more clear way. Not just in February, but it should cause a permanent shift in how we see our students and their communities and families. So here's what I want you to take with you this week. As you move through February, I want you to hold 3 questions. Think about these 3 things. Number 1, how am I using Black History Month to deepen my cultural wealth lens, not just to check a box? Where in my classroom or my school or my district are the living expressions of Black cultural wealth that I might be overlooking? What would change in my practice in how I do this education thing if I treated Black history not as a month, but as a lens I carry all year? Take these questions seriously. Write them down. Bring them to your team. Because the goal is not just a better bulletin board or who wins the door decorating contest. That should not be the goal. See, the goal is a better school. One where every child's history, every family's wisdom, and every community's brilliance is recognized every single day. So we've been building together in this series. I've been doing this since October 1st. And we've been talking about new ways of seeing our students and families, new languages for the strengths that have always been there. This Black History Month is a chance to sharpen that vision. So let's not waste it on a performance. Let's use it to go deeper. So your Cultural Wealth Wednesday challenge is to look around you at your school and your students. See where the performance is. And how do you turn that performance into a celebration?